welcome to or back to my channel. I've been putting off filming this video for a few weeks now, so I'm finally getting around to it. Just for context, so it's currently Sunday for me, and I've got this week, which is tech rehearsal week, and then the week after that is show week, and then I'm done with uni. So basically I finished the stuff that counts towards my degree a few weeks ago, and now it's just working towards our final graduation show, which is technically for fun because it doesn't count towards our grades as such, but it's still part of the course, if that makes sense. I hope I've explained that well. So I will be graduating from Addict Dance Academy on their 3-year programme, course, whatever you call it. So it was a 2-year HND course in professional dance and then a 3rd-year BA top-up, and yeah, it's gone so quickly. Obviously, I don't know, I say it's gone quickly, and it has, but at the same time it does feel like it's gone on forever, and I think that's because of having COVID in the middle of it. Kind of messed a few things up, obviously, as I'm sure a lot of people had the same situation. But yeah, so I just thought I'd answer a few questions. So I put a question box on my Instagram, and we'll just go from there. I've got a few questions, we'll just have a chit chat, grab yourself a cuppa or a beverage, whatever you're feeling. I've got my basic bitch Starbucks cup with apple and strawberry squash. Can I also just say, I had one of these cups before they were cool, and I wish I used it more because I found it in the back of my cupboard and forgot that it existed, and then everyone started using them and they became really cool. So trendsetter over here. Anyway, let's get into some questions. These are a mixture of questions of like, there's just a mixture of questions. I just said that this is a question box about a Q&A about finishing uni. So some of them are like advice for uni, some of them are like personal to me. There's a bit of everything in here, so we're just gonna go with it. What's your plans for the next year? Now, I'm at that point where everyone I speak to in my day-to-day life is asking me what I'm doing when I finish uni. So I literally move out of this flat in 2 weeks and 2 days, not that anyone's counting. That part can't come quick enough. If you know the problems I've had with this flat, you'll know how excited I am to get out of here. But yeah, my plans for the next year, I would like to move to London ASAP, probably within the next year, hopefully within the next 6 months. And my plan with dance is just to go to as many auditions as I can and hopefully get a job in some kind of gym or fitness setting, whether that's carrying on teaching or like an actual like PT gym job or gym instructor, gym floor, whatever it is, something within fitness. That means that I can carry on dancing as well. Hopefully, I want to get a balance between both of them, like running side by side. That's the ideal situation. But yeah, within the next year I want to move to London. I want to be working in the gym and going to as many auditions and dance classes as I can. What did you study at DMU? So if you don't know, I actually went to De Montfort University first when I turned 18, so like the normal time to go to uni, in 2016, and that was to study dance as well, and that was like my plan B. I did actually do a whole video on this, so I'll link it up there or down there if you haven't seen it and you're interested in hearing the full story. But I went to DMU to study dance. That was my backup. I wanted to go to a contemporary school and I didn't get in anywhere, so I went to uni to study dance instead as like my plan B, and I hated it, so I dropped out. So then I went to Dance Sports, which is another dance college, to do a level 3 qualification, which was a bit of a gamble, but the training was what I wanted, so that is what I did. And then after that, those 2 years, I then came where I am now, which wasn't the plan. It wasn't the plan at all. So it's taken me 6 years in total to get a degree, but I wouldn't change it, I don't think. That was a very long-winded answer to what did I study. Advice for dancers starting their training: just make the most of it, because I think the one thing I am going to miss is not having that training every day, every week, and having to like source my own training, which I am quite good at. Like, I'm not one of those people that has just been to dance college and just relied on that. Like, I have throughout my years been pretty proactive in finding different like workshops, courses, classes, and like going out and doing stuff outside of college. So in that sense, yeah. But my point was, make the most of it, because you have so much like given to you that you don't realise, and now I'm like, oh wait, now I'm not gonna have that. So yeah, make the most of it. Speak to people. Don't, if you're feeling anxious, or if you're feeling down, or if you're feeling any kind of way, speak to people, talk to people, because it won't be just you. Talk to people in your course. There will be people that are going through obviously the same thing as you, and beware that like people that you knew before you went to dance college won't necessarily understand what you're going through and how intense it is. But yeah, talk to people. You're in for a tough ride, but it's so worth it. Like, it is worth it. As much as I've moaned about it, as much as it's been an interesting journey, I wouldn't change it. So make the most of it. And if anyone is watching this going into full-time dance training or thinking about it, then drop me a message, we can have a chin wag about it. How do you feel about this chapter in your life? Shit scared but also excited. Like, it is exciting, and I am so ready to leave education and not have people tell me what to do. Like, I'm so ready for it. Like, although it's taken me like double the amount of time, so I'm 24, and I feel like I am quite mature for my age, but I also kind of feel like that's kind of leveled out a little bit because of the fact that I'm still in education. So I am excited to move on to the next chapter and just explore options. Like, I'm going in very open-minded, or I'm trying to be open-minded and keep my options open, so I don't want to put myself in a box or shut off things because that's what I thought about something, if that makes sense. I want to like give everything a thought, give everything a chance, and just, yeah, explore my options, keep my options open, and make the most of anything that comes my way. Someone said starting nursing in September in Queen's Uni in Belfast. Any tips for staying organised? Also, how to balance working full-time placement hours, part-time job, and fitness goals. Wow. You've got it cut out for you, girl. But I relate. I mean, I didn't do full-time placement hours, but dance college is very much full-time hours, and I've always had a part-time job at the same time, whether that be, in fact, I've always had multiple jobs at the same time, so I feel that. I think the main thing to being organised is to like plan everything. Plan your week at the beginning of the week. So like on a Sunday, I normally give myself like an hour or so in the evening just to plan my week and visualise my week. So whether that's in a planner or like on a digital calendar. I like to have both. I have a paper planner which I like to write everything in so I can see it, but then since I got my MacBook, I quite like having the calendar on there because I like how it looks visually. So I'll put anything in there, either way, paper or digital, just so I can see my week visually, and then I can see where the gaps are, and then from there I'll then plan when I'm going to go to the gym, when I'm going to meal prep. I tend to meal prep like twice a week, like on a Sunday and then sort of midweek or like Wednesday, Thursday kind of time. If you don't mind eating the same meal like multiple days, like I've just meal prepped tonight and I've literally got 4 portions of the same falafel pasta dish, and that's going to be my lunch for the next 4 days. So if you don't mind that, it does get a little bit repetitive, but if you don't mind that, that's a really good way of like prepping everything in advance, and that keeps you organised, and then obviously you don't have to think about food during the week. You can just grab it out the fridge and go. Same with like snacks and things. I'll literally plan out my snacks. I go to Poundland and buy like the like cereal bars, so like Go Ahead bars, Squares bars, Brunch bars, things like that I can just grab and go and put in my bag, whether that's to take to work, to eat between classes, whatever it is. So plan ahead is probably my biggest tip on staying organised, and make sure you have a calendar, whether you use it on your phone or your laptop or a physical paper planner. Like, just make sure you have one and make sure you keep it updated. And it is totally doable to still have fitness goals and to still reach those fitness goals at the same time as doing all that. I think I'm going to do another video on like my fitness journey this year, because I feel like I've got to a kind of pivotal point where I've managed to like balance everything pretty well and been the most consistent I've ever been, but also probably the busiest I've ever been. And yeah, I think I've just like hit that sweet spot. So I think I'm going to do a whole video on that. Literally all of the questions are just, what are your plans after graduation? I don't think I've said this actually, but I am just moving back to my like family home first of all, which I am not looking forward to. If you remember from my videos last summer, my room at home is literally a box room. There is no space to breathe, let alone move. My main stress right now is how I'm going to get the contents of this flat into that room. Like, I have no idea. Yeah, that's my main stress right now, but I am moving home because I don't have another option yet. But I am also on the lookout for jobs ASAP. I'm kind of in two minds, because I wanted to like move home, chill for a bit, like a month or two, like kind of have a summer, and then like come September, October, like head down, find a job, find somewhere to live, all that. But the more I think about spending prolonged period of time at home with no plan, the more I get stressed. So I think I am just gonna have to go straight in, and I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself, because obviously like I'm lucky that I can move home and not be too stressed about living in that sense. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. I'll try and keep up the vlogs to keep you all updated. How was college? It sounds so cool. I might do like a whole video on my dance college experience. If anyone's interested in that, let me know. I'm sure there'll be another question box. But overall, it's been very challenging, but also very rewarding. And I don't even know how to describe it, you know. It's such an interesting, like, I feel like it's just so different to going to like a normal uni. Like when people think, oh, you're at uni, like I often wonder what they think I do. Because like majority of the time there's been like, it's literally been a 9 till 5 Monday to Friday timetable, jam-packed full of dance classes, like majority of the time. And that means like 4 or 5, if not 6. I remember there was a time in second year where we had 6 classes in one day. We started at 8:30 and we finished at 6, and it was the most full out day. And it's just crazy to actually think about. Like when I explain it to other people, they're literally like, how do you do that? Like, to give you an idea, I think we had MT jazz, so musical theatre jazz, at least twice, like with 2 different MT teachers. And then we'd have ballet, tech jazz, Latin, and maybe like singing as well, all in one day. And that was probably the most like full out day we've had over the 3 years. But yeah, I would say my 2-year course prior to these 3 years was probably more intense physically and mentally, but these 3 years have been like a different challenge, if that makes sense. They're 2 very different colleges that I've been to. I did touch on this more in the other video, but it's just a different world. Like, we train voluntarily like 8 hours a day, pushing our bodies, pushing our minds, being like fed all this information. Like, it's a lot. It is a lot. It's a mental challenge as much as it is a physical one. And yeah, and then we have to do theory work on top of that, because obviously we're still getting a degree. We did a mini dissertation in second year, which was like obviously written, and then third year we had a dissertation project, which was like a show. We still had to do like written work, essays, presentations, all of that jazz as well, which yeah, it's a lot, but it's also a lot of fun. Like, I am so grateful that I get to dance around in the studio for 8 hours a day. I get to sing and dance all day, and that's my degree. Like, I wouldn't change it. Do you think you'll become a full-time PT at all? I was so against becoming a full-time PT, but the more I think about it now, the more I think actually I do want to do that, or full-time in a gym at least, even if it's not specifically for PT. Because what I've found is, especially like in London, which is obviously where I want to be located ideally, they expect you to straight off the bat pay rent to the gym, to PT there, and have your own client base. Like, that is the expectation a lot of the time, which obviously if I'm just moving to London, that's not viable, that's not feasible for me. So I'm trying to look for like gym shifts as opposed to like freelance PTing straight away. I wouldn't say no to doing that in the future, but I do think trying to juggle freelance PTing and a dance career is probably not the best situation to be in, to put myself in, like stress level wise. So yeah, I was very against it before, but I am very much coming around to the idea of it, and I've actually applied for quite a lot of full-time gym jobs in London, so hopefully I get one of them. Someone asked, do I have an agent? I do not. I've only been to like one agency audition so far, and it wasn't the best. Again, if you're a dancer, message me, I'll give you the deets. But yeah, I don't have an agent. I'm not graduating with an agent, but I am on the lookout. But also I feel like it's very doable in this I was gonna say this day and age, but that doesn't sound right. In this current climate, I don't know, to do it without an agent. I think it is possible, and then obviously like you don't have to deal with like fees and stuff like that, but at the same time there is a lot more job opportunity when you do have an agent, because obviously you don't have to do the whole open call situation, which we love to talk about after the Mamma Mia situation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the Mamma Mia video, because that was a time and I never want to do that again. So when I think about that, I'm like, yeah, let's get an agent. But I do think there is a lot of work that you can get without an agent. Like, I don't think it's 100% necessary, but it would be nice to have one. Do you wish you'd gotten your degree sooner, or are you glad you redid / finished it later on? This is an interesting question. I wouldn't change anything, I don't think. I feel like my timeline has been an interesting one. It's obviously not like the conventional way of doing things, but if I had graduated when I was meant to, I would have graduated in 2019. So to then graduate in 2019, I would have been in the industry for like a year. I still would have been a PT because I did my PT in 2018. Although would I? Because, oh no, I would, because I did my fitness quals before I went to uni, and then I did my Pilates training while I was at uni. Where was I going with that? And obviously, like with COVID, I feel like that's shifted my perspective of like when things happen and when things like should have happened or whatever, because I think now I'm in a pretty good position where we're coming out of the pandemic. I feel a lot more prepared, whereas I think, I don't know how to word this right. I don't know how being a graduate for a year, then being hit by the pandemic, and then trying to come out of it again, I don't know how that would have affected me, like career-wise, at that point, if I'd have stuck it out, or even what I'd be doing, because if I'd stuck it out where I was at DMU on that course, I don't think I'd be going down the same career path at all. Like, I'd never done a commercial class until I left DMU, and now I would be comfortable going for a commercial job. Whereas before, when I went to DMU, I wanted to be a contemporary dancer, which is hilarious because that's actually my least favourite class now. I just think my training that I've done since I left uni has been like the most pivotal and the most beneficial to me and my career, and I feel like that's opened up so many more possibilities and opportunities to come, if that makes sense. So what's even the question? I don't think I do wish I'd got my degree sooner. Like, sometimes I'm like, yeah, you know what, I kind of do wish that I'd graduated with my year group or at the same time as some of my friends, but at the same time I've done so much in that time that I don't, like, everything happens for a reason, and I think the timing of things is very important in the, like, long run, and I would just be living a completely different life if I didn't do what I've done, if that makes any sense at all. My camera just cut out, I'm not sure why. A little bit concerned we just lost that whole video. Whoa. But I think to conclude, I'm just excited to be in London. And I feel like I know so many people that I follow, like, on Instagram and things that are in London as well, and I'm like, there's so many people. I've been talking for so long, my throat is starting to hurt. What are you most proud of about your uni experience? I think I'm just proud of myself for sticking it out and being consistent and dedicated and just sticking it out. Like I said, it's not been an easy ride. We're here 6 years later and I'm finally getting a degree that I started 6 years ago. What will you miss and what won't you miss at all? I think the main thing that I'll miss is the training and having that, like, I think we've definitely taken that for granted a fair few times over the years, and you know, there's been times where ballet at 9 AM was the worst idea ever, and there's a million other places I'd rather be than in that class. But now I'm like, ballet at 9 AM sounds okay, like, sign me up. And then I'm like, oh, if I want to do a ballet class now, I have to, you know, find somewhere and pay like £10–12 a class, or however much it is these days. What I won't miss is this blinking flat. I don't think I'll miss Leicester, to be honest. I mean, there's like a few people here that I would keep in contact with, but that's as far as it goes. I think I'll miss having that, like, a little bit of both. This is kind of contradictory to what I said earlier, but I think I will kind of miss having that timetable and having that structure, but at the same time I am quite excited to just do that myself and create my own timetable and structure. Last question is there anything I'd do differently, which I kind of have touched on, and I genuinely don't think there is anything that I would do differently. Like I said earlier, like, everything happens for a reason. You've got to just trust the process, and yeah, you're in the right place at the right time. Like, there is no right time. Like, I'm not graduating late or whatever it is. Like, it hasn't taken me too long. It just, everyone's on their own path, and I think that's important to remember, especially when you feel like you're the one that's on a different timeline to everyone else. But I do feel like that matters at the time. Like, at the time when I was starting uni for the second time and I was 21, I was like, I feel old. Like, I feel that difference, that 3-year difference between, like, in first year I felt it a lot and I was like, these people are so young and I feel so old. But it kind of like evens out as you get older. Like, I'm 24 now, but I don't feel, I think this is probably part of the problem of that I feel like I'm still 19. It's just that whole timeline thing again, really. But I do think the older you get, the less it matters. When you're at school, when you're at sixth form, or when you're in, like, even first year of uni and you're considering dropping out or doing an extra year or taking a gap year, whatever it is, it feels like life or death. But the older you get, the less that difference is a thing. I think that's going to conclude this video because I've been rambling for a long time. My throat is genuinely starting to hurt. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me a little comment down below. Let me know if you finished uni recently or a few years ago or whenever. Let me know how you felt where I am now, a few weeks away from the end. And if you have any advice for a new grad, let me know that too. And if you're about to start uni, then I wish you all the best of luck. If you want to drop me a message about anything, you can, especially dancers out there. And yeah, I think I'll leave it there. I'll see you in the next video.